Hello and welcome to Knowledge by Nature. In today's video, I have another homeschool plan with me, and I just can't believe how close we are getting to wrapping up this fourth grade year. If this is your first time here, welcome or welcome back. I'm a homeschool mom to a soon-to-be fifth grader. That's just crazy. We love all things books, homeschool, and sharing our journey with you. And if that is something that interests you, I would love if you consider hitting that subscribe button and joining me on this adventure. So yes, we are planning again. Here we are. We're just really getting close to that like summer schedule. And I'll come out with another summer schedule, but I do have other ones in the past. So be sure, check out my playlist, all that kind of stuff if you're interested. I'll try to remember to link my summer plan from last year in the description down below. So be sure and check that out. But yes, let's go ahead and get into this week. Okay, so I am continuing to do this little planning style that I've been doing over the last few weeks. I did it just a little bit differently because honestly, all of this is actually kind of time consuming. I love it. I like the way that it looks. If you just see kind of, yeah, that's really pretty. I do like it. I do like it a lot, but this was a lot quicker and it gives me the same kind of grid pattern check off thing. I like that a lot, but this may be the last week that I do this just because if you've seen my latest School Nest notebook reveal right here, that's what I'm using for next year. It doesn't have this option. So I think I'm gonna use these, or maybe even the first one, to plan that out. Because this one has 6 columns. The other one actually has 7. So I would have almost 2 extra columns to figure out how to do something like this in. So my plan is over the next couple of weeks after this one, I am going to start playing with that idea, figuring out how to maybe use that before I jump into the new planner. So that's probably, this may be the last week for a little bit while we see this prettiness, but that's okay because I love the new planner as well. Now, this week, I had to end up rolling a lot of stuff over from last week. Instead of going into all of that, let's just zoom in here. So once again, I kind of put our month and our week up here at the top. I have what we are reading. This is actually just our read alouds right now because she read 3 books last week and she hasn't decided what she's going to read this week. So I will write that whenever she decides for sure what she's going to be reading. As far as dimensions goes, it's really, we're just clicking to the next one and the next one and so on. And so that's what I've done is on Monday, we will start talking about dividing decimals and then we will just continue. I want to say this might be the last one in that chapter, or I might have one more practice and we'll see if we do that practice or not. Otherwise, we'll just keep moving on to chapter 15. This is where I was saying that I actually had to move a lot of stuff over. So we did actually some different writing this week that I hadn't necessarily planned, but we didn't ever get much to our IAW. So she did watch about 30 minutes of video 1, or maybe 25 minutes actually, of IAW part 1. So what I have done is I've just moved over that we need to finish part 1, watch video 2, she'll do her keyword outline, she'll need to test her keyword outline, and then she will start writing her paragraphs, and it looks like it's going to be 3 paragraphs this time. So it is likely a lot of this will roll over. I don't think we're going to complete this lesson in this week, and that's fine, and so I have it prepared for that. Moving over into geography and history, we are continuing with our American Revolution. These first 2 right here, we are talking about Kentucky, and that is our not grass 50 states, so we will do 2 of those. I'm continuing to have her read those to me, and she's quizzing me. That's working really well. We're not really doing the extra pages, the workbooks, or anything like that. We're only reading it at this point. Then next, we're continuing on with that American Revolution. We're entering the section where Washington is going to go across the Delaware. We're going to be talking a little bit about spies and things like that. Now to tie in with this, so moving right over here, and let's zoom in here. I have two things that I want to read to coordinate with our history. One of those is a graphic novel on George Washington, which I have as part of a set that I got from the book outlet quite some time ago. That I'm going to assign to her as an independent read. It's going to be fun. It's one, she's always loved George Washington for some reason, and two, it's a graphic novel. So it's going to be an independent read, but she also will need to choose another independent read, if that makes sense. So I want her to read this for our history, but I also want her to read like another chapter book or something like that. And then I just have that we have Phoebe the Spy right now from the library that I want to read a little bit about that. Now, I think I also have some pockets that go along with the spies. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down, which I think by having my spies over here, I would know what I'm talking about. But just in case, I'm just adding a few extra brain dump sections right over here. I just feel like I am using this more and more, and it makes me slightly nervous to go into this new one. And so that's why I want to start practicing with next week not using this and just see how I'm going to feel about that. Or, I don't know. I think it's going to be good. I think it is, but that's not what this video is about. It's about this week's plan. So let's look over here. All right, next is plants. So it is actually plant reproduction, and we'll be making a plant ID book with this one. I left this section blank because I may put like a nature journal or a bird study or a chicken study in there. I'm not sure, but actually we're really liking our science, and we actually did a whole week in one day this time. This last week on Friday, we talked about, so for the week that we were actually doing this, we actually did all of this in one day, and it went really well. There wasn't a lot of like cutting and pasting this week. So we watched a lot of videos about phototropism, hydrotropism, hydroponics, and then we started a sweet potato experiment. So all of these things happened on one day, and that was actually a whole week worth right there. So it kind of depends on the lesson on how much you're doing. A few weeks ago, there was a lot of cutting and pasting. We made this big diorama, and so we couldn't have done a whole week in a day because there was just a lot of like handiwork with that one. But there wasn't really so much for this week, and so we just got a lot knocked out in one day. And I'm not sure that we won't be able to do something a little bit similar to this, because I think day 3 was like take a nature walk and examine some plants, things like that. So we'll see how that comes around at the end. But over here on language arts, with our language arts, we have our Fix-It Grammar, our Phonetic Zoo, and our word roots that we're going to be doing. Now, word roots is actually going to be 4 days, I think, because I didn't get every single thing done this week on that, so that's fine. And even if I don't get 4 this week, that's okay too. But this 4 just gives me a quick visual of I need to hit that 4 times this week. Moving over into our little daily habits, which again, I really like having this here, is our Bible, piano, violin, basketball, typing, multiplication, and cursive. I did take out life skills that you'll see I had last week. I don't have that on here this time, but we've kind of developed a rhythm and a routine with that, and we're just kind of doing that every day without me having to think about it or check mark it. These things, we do have a rhythm, we are doing them, but I still like to see them. As far as the rest of the week goes, this is pretty blank over here, and then I just put a little splash of color all over my weekly plan here. So like I said, probably the last kind of setup like this that I'll have for a little bit as I try to practice for my next planner. And that's just a good little idea to do if you're looking at getting a new design for next year. See if you can practice in your current one. I feel like back here at the end, it's just kind of fun to let the creativity fly. And I've been looking at like all my past ones and how I just planned throughout the year. And it's just fun to see all of the different ways that I have used it over the year. However, this is really, really one of my favorite ways that I have used this specific setup. But that is this is what week 38 is supposed to look like. So I hope that it looks like this. Now, week 37 actually did pretty good. We did almost everything that I anticipated, with the exception of our writing. Our writing didn't quite go like what I thought it would go, but we also just had some really beautiful days that we enjoyed outside, and I am all okay with that. So this is another plan with me. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving me that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in my next one. Thank you.